Welcome back to Squawk Box. We are live in Davos, Switzerland. Our next guest is a global celebrity. You know his voice and you know his face. And now with the rise of artificial intelligence, he's pushing for the protection of people's likenesses. Joining us right now, talk about his deep dive into AI, musician, innovator, entrepreneur, will.i.am. Thank you for being here.
Thanks for having me.
So just about everyone who comes and sits at this table says you can't walk 6 feet down the promenade without somebody saying the word AI to you. What have you learned on this journey, this trip? And are we at peak AI, or you think this is just the beginning?
No, we're not at peak. We're Pac-Man.
Pac-Man?
If anything, it's Mario Brothers. We haven't even got to Halo or Xbox. We haven't got that yet. So this is it's 1984, as far as...
In a good way.
No, both ways.
Let's go to that, though. Let's go straight to the show. Give us in the good way and give us in the bad way, as you see it.
Well, it hasn't gotten bad as what social media has done to society. We haven't seen that yet. And let's hope that regulators, policymakers get their stuff together so it doesn't end up that way. We can't have it to where companies lead with greed, because we're just going to have some version, even worse, what Web 2.0 and social media did to society, where our civil liberties are compromised, democracy is compromised, privacy compromised. We shouldn't repeat that with this level of tech, where we have dupe machines, mimic machines, but the technology on the other hand is spectacular. It can help bridge the gap on who gets access to the best education. It will help unearth tomorrow's industries, because at the same time, it will topple the industries that we know now.
You just came from a lunch, I think,
Yeah.
with Sam Altman was. And OpenAI has become the sort of the gold standard for AI at the moment. But it has gone through, even the last 3 months, people looked at it originally as a not-for-profit that was not being led by greed. And now there's a whole new question about what OpenAI even is, whether it's really a company effectively controlled by Microsoft. And a lot of people are saying this is fundamentally actually just, it's a business like any other, if not more so.
I like to look, I always have optimistic lens, although how I look at the world. The amount of compute alone for that machine to work, it has to make money. It cannot be a non-for-profit and have that level of compute. Who's going to pay for everything?
Right.
So I understand that perspective. Now, to say that it's going to lead with greed, it's too early to say that. And that's why having these discussions, Sam's a good guy. At the core, he's a good person.
So tell us how you're going to be using AI and how you already are using AI.
Well, first, I invest in companies. And I want kids from the communities that I come from to be competitive in this space, build companies, solve problems with this technology. So mentoring kids, have a program in LA where we serve about just a little over 14,000 students with computer science and robotic skill sets. Where with our partnership with LAUSD, we're in over 300 schools in LA, so I want to continue to grow that. So that's what's leading my entrepreneurial activities. So I'm a philanthropist first, showing kids that come from the communities I come from, hey, look what we can do, and that's why I do my entrepreneurial stuff. So we just announced a radio show. It's the first time I'm hosting a radio show on
Cutie Pie.
XM. And Cutie Pie is my co-host, first show with an AI as a co-host. Really excited about that. My company, FYI.ai.
And how does that work? Tell us, take us behind the scenes of how that show actually operates.
Just like this show.
Okay, except
where my co-host is an AI.
Right. So, but is there pauses and a wait, like when you say something, and then is it right on? And is there somebody typing behind the scenes? Do you have to tell it anything beforehand?
So you're just chit-chatting?
It's mind-boggling that you could just hop in and not have any preparation and dive in on any subject. Popular culture, real-time information, historical stuff, banter. It's freaking amazing.
What's the weirdest thing Cutie Pie ever said to you?
Say again?
What's the weirdest thing Cutie Pie ever said to you? Anything throw you off?
Oh, I pulled it up on I was doing a panel the other day, and I was having like joking banter with it earlier on in the morning. And so when I introduced Cutie Pie to the folks that I was on a panel with, it called me user. And I'm like, yo, why are you messing around like that? I'm just pulling your leg, Will. Right? And so it being witty, we didn't program it to be witty.
So
But it's funnier than a lot of
right.
people.
But I was joking with it earlier.
Right.
And so it probably was continuing with the joke banter.
Yeah.
Let me ask you about likeness, because that's going to become a huge issue in terms of IP, copyright, protection of the like. There's, by the way, lots of lawsuits now against OpenAI around some of the content, including that they've used from Getty Images, the New York Times, and others. I assume you want to be paid for your likeness if, in fact, people are creating songs or other content that looks like you, feels like you. And let's figure out what's the distinction. Something that looks like you, maybe one thing, feels like you, or sounds like you, but only sounds sort of slightly like you. Is that different?
These are all new concepts, and there's no rule book for it yet. And we're figuring it out as we go. I think, even yourself,
Yeah.
you need to own your AI and your data that's going to power it. Right now, we don't own our data. Hey, who do you bank with? You don't have to say, but you bank with somebody, right?
Yeah, I
okay, so where's your data bank? Well, you don't even know. We don't have a data bank. That company doesn't exist. The industry that banks our data doesn't exist. Oh, that does. It's called Meta. But you can't use your data at Meta.
Mm-hmm.
But they use your data. They use everybody's data at Meta, and they sell it. That is new. And moving forward, that has to change. Because it's a human right that I own my stuff. And it's a human right that the stuff that I own is going to feed my essence and likeness.
Right. Okay, but what happens if right now, if somebody were to sample one of your songs, how's that work?
Well, that's a different type of technology, and that's been protected. There's an industry called the publishing industry.
Yep.
And then the record industry that owns the master recording.
Right.
That protects that. And
But what about like a little riff that's like sort of yours, but not really?
Well, they've already there's laws around that. Like chord progressions are not copyrightable. Yeah. Right? It's a progression. There's only 8 notes. We all share this information and this ability. And when we write songs, you're writing songs around this theory that has existed before the record industry.
Right.
Yeah. And so these types of thinkings need to be put around AI, but more importantly, down to the human core of it. That is your AI. It's not a public restroom. You're not going to buy a freaking house and then you ask the realtor, like, yo, where's the restroom at? And that dude's like, oh, by the way, the whole neighborhood is sharing some freaking restroom down the road. You want to make sure that the things that are private to you are yours. Yeah. So your data is private to you. It should be yours. And the thing that is going to power that should be yours, not some company.
I like it. I like it.
These are great
big
deep
issues.
thoughts.
Big issues and big thoughts.
Also, where is the freaking Constitution for AI? Everybody making it should have signed some Constitution. Or where's the license? Like you have a car, you drove it, we all took a test. And the companies that make the cars have regulations, like seat belts, airbags, all these things, speedometers.
Technology always runs ahead of regulation, though, and that's been the problem.
But but here, we need to move fast on this.
Yeah. Right.
It's an election year. Yeah. People need to know and ask the question, like, am I talking to a human here? What is this?
Thank you for bringing us these big thoughts. You're forcing us to think a lot this morning, and we appreciate it. will.i.am.
Thanks, guys.
Hope to see you again
Will.
very, very soon.